Shabbat Shalom, and welcome to Addith Emmanuel for those who are joining us here in person in Mount Laurel and those who are joining us through the blessing of technology. And if you are joining us remotely, I would welcome you to say Shabbat Shalom in the chat and share where it is you're joining us this evening. It is the first Shabbat since we started the Torah scroll all over again. Simchat Torah was just yesterday, and we are also on the cusp of celebrating not one, but two of our students becoming B'nai Mitzvah tomorrow, Ethan Deloche and Dylan Goldman-Moraldo, and so we wish each of you a Mazal Tov and your families, and looking forward to celebrating with you tomorrow and tonight as well. And it's Shabbat. So we are going to open in song this evening with Hine Ma Tov, how good and how pleasant it is for all of us to be here together.
And the choir asks that you please join us. We're starting with Hine Ma Tov to include you so we can all blend our voices together.
As we turn now to the lighting and blessing of our Shabbat candles, it's my pleasure to welcome to the Bima Dylan and her family and Ethan and his family to lead us in lighting and blessing on pages 120 and 121. We're going to do...
All these Shabbat candles give light to all who behold them. So may we, be our lives, give light to all who behold us, as their brightness reminds us of the generations of Israel who have kindled light. So may we, in our own day, be among those who kindle light.
O source of light and truth, creator of the eternal law of goodness, help us to find knowledge by which to live. Lead us to take the words we shall speak into our hearts and our lives. Bless all who enter the sanctuary in need, all who bring the offerings of their hearts. May our worship lead us to acts of kindness, peace, and love.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kidshanu b'mitzvotav, v'tzivanu l'hadnikner shel Shabbat.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kidshanu b'mitzvotav, v'tzivanu l'hadlik ner shel Shabbat.
Amen. We turn now in our prayer books to page 123 as we continue with the Kiddush. So we're going to slide over to okay, each of you in front.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, borei pri hagafen. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kidshanu b'mitzvotav, v'ratzavanu, v'shabbat kodsho be'ahava uvratzon, hilanu, zikaron l'ma'aseh bereshit. Ki hu yom tehillah l'mikrei kodesh, zecher l'tziyat Mitzrayim, kivanu v'acharta, v'iltanu kidashta, mikol ha'amim, v'shabbat kodshecha, v'ahava uvratzon, hinhaltanu, baruch atah Adonai, mekadesh ha'shabbat.
And we continue in our prayer books on page 138. Page 138 in the brackets, welcoming in Shabbat with Lecha Dodi. Rise and face the entrance.
Torah
are standing, we take a moment to turn to somebody, perhaps not the person next to us, if we already know that person, but someone in front of us, behind us, across the way, and introduce ourselves and greet one another. Shabbat Shalom. And if you're joining us through the blessing of technology, I invite you to say Shabbat Shalom to one another in the chat at this time. And these are conversations we can continue following the services at our Oneg Shabbat. As we turn now in our prayer books to page 146 in the brackets for Baruch Hu. On page 151, as you taught Torah to those whose names I bear, teach me Torah too. Its mystery beckons, yet I struggle with its truth. You meant Torah for me. Did you mean the struggle for me too? Don't let me struggle alone. Help me to understand, to be wise, to listen, to know. Lead me into the mystery. Baruch atah Adonai, Ohev Amo Yisrael. Our prayer cards. continue now on page 159. Page 159 as we join together. Sing the song of men and women joined in understanding and respect, the song of God's miracles, an earth protected and cherished, a gift for our children and the generations to come, the song of a land once ravished by war, now quiet and content, her soldiers home to leave no more, the song of a world redeemed, the song of peace. We continue on page 161, page 161. As we join together at the bottom of the page, give us a place to rest, Adonai our God. Bring us into shelter in the soft, long evening shadows of your truth. For with you are true protection and safety, and in your presence are acceptance and gentle love. Watch over us as we go forth. Prepare for us as we return. Spread over us your shelter of peace, over all we love, over our Jerusalem and yours. Baruch atah Adonai, haporei sukat shalom aleinu, ve'al kol amo Yisrael, ve'al Yerushalayim.
Vishamru v'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat Shabbat. Vishamru v'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat Shabbat. Lasot et ha-Shabbat ledorotam b'ridolam. Lasot et ha-Shabbat ledorotam b'ridolam. Vishamru Israel et ha-Shabbat Shabbat. Vishamru b'nei Israel et ha-Shabbat Shabbat. Beini uvein b'nei Israel od ha'olam. Beini uvein b'nei Israel od ha'olam. Vishamru Israel et ha-Shabbat Shabbat. Vishamru v'nei Israel et ha-Shabbat Shabbat. Ki sheshet yamin asa Adonai et hashamayim v'et haaretz. Ki sheshet yamin asa Adonai et hashamayim v'et haaretz. Vishamru Israel et ha-Shabbat Shabbat. Vishamru b'nei Israel et ha-Shabbat Shabbat. Vayom hashvi Shabbat vayinafash. Vayom hashvi Shabbat vayinafash. Vishamru Israel et ha-Shabbat Shabbat. Vishamru v'nei Israel et
We turn now in our Siddur to page 164. 164. As we're able, we rise in body and spirit. We continue in our prayer books on page 173, 173 in the brackets as we read together on the top. May these hours of rest and renewal open our hearts to joy and our minds to truth. May all who struggle find rest on this day. May all who suffer find solace. May all who hurt find healing on this day. May all who despair find purpose. May all who hunger find fulfillment on this day. And may this day fulfill its promise. Baruch atah Adonai mekadesh haShabbat. We turn now to page 177. We read together at the bottom. When we behold your heavens, the work of your fingers, the moon and stars that you set in place, what are we humans that you are mindful of us, we mortals that you take note of us? You made us little less than divine, adorned us with glory and majesty. You gave us dominion over your handiwork, laying the world at our feet. How majestic is your name throughout the earth. Baruch atah Adonai. Hatov shimcha ulecha na'eh lehodot.
Shalom rov al Yisrael amcha tasim le'olam. Shalom rov al Yisrael amcha tasim tasim, tasim, tasim leolam. Ki ata o melech adon lechol hashalom. Ki ata o melech adon lechol hashalom. Shalom Rava Yisrael Amcha Tazim Leolam. Shalom Rava Yisrael Amcha Tazim, Tazim, Tazim Leolam. ותבנך לברך את עמך ישראל בכל עת ובכל שעה בשלומך, בשלומך, בשלומך. Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha Tazim Leolam. Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha Tazim, Tazim, Tazim Leolam. Tasim leolam.
We continue our prayer now silently, whether we are led by the words on the pages of our Siddur through page 181 in the brackets, or other prayers throughout the prayer book, or those meditations and thoughts in our hearts. We turn our thoughts and prayers now to those who are in need of healing, and so we turn in our Siddur to page 371, in the brackets in the middle of the page, as we are thinking of the following people in our extended Adith Emmanuel family who are in need of healing, healing of the body, healing of the mind, healing of the spirit. And we send our blessings out to David Ev, Nora Otis, Shirley Srolovitz, Elaine Stein, Ethan Cheskis, Cindy Rosenberg, Moshe Ben Chenoch V'Shoshana, Corinne Fowler, Iris Nadell, Mary Lou Salvador, Natalie Polios, Harry Kushner, Barbara Savage, Chris Cheney, Alice Oppenheimer, Stuart Ettinger, Philip Lutz, Jerry Dreskin, Yochanan Ben Yehudit, Richard Foley, Merrill Green, Joe Wright, Libby Barsky, Carol Levine, Judy Winogren, Bob Epifano, Malcolm Fletcher, Ellen Bertuglia, Mindy Fisher, Kayla Chanabat, Adan Lebu Masalea, Marlene Gratchner, Harry Greenberg, Nick Baud, Deb Nielsen, Moshe Ben Elizabeth Theodore, Jennifer Ness, Harriet Eisner, Carla Teisch, Chaim Ben David, Hugh Morton, Art Bond, Roberta Levine, Jordan Steinberg, Jeff Schaefer, Michael Infante, Gary Garnick, Rick Ulrich, Ileana Cohn. If you're joining us through the blessing of technology and are thinking of those who are in need of healing, if you like, you could add their names to the chat at this time. For those who are here in the sanctuary in person, as you're able, I would invite you to rise and say those names aloud as my hand passes through the congregation. Baruch atah Adonai, Rofei HaCholim.
Those in need of healing, please hear our prayer. Mishaperach Avotenu Mekor habracha V'imotenu please hear our prayer. Mishaperach Avotenu Mekor habracha L'imotenu Mishaperach
As our hearts turn to the east, we turn now in our prayer books to page 377 and our prayers for the state of Israel as we are thinking of those who are in need of healing physically and spiritually. We think of those in Israel, the hostages who are still in Gaza, and all those who have been harmed in Gaza and Lebanon and the region because of this ongoing war. And so we pray, Shalu Shalom Yerushalayim Yishlau Avayich. Pray for the peace of Jerusalem. May those who love you prosper. O Heavenly One, Protector and Redeemer of Israel, bless the state of Israel, which marks the dawning of hope for all who seek peace. Shield it beneath the wings of your love. Spread over it the canopy of your peace. Send your light and truth to all who lead and advise, guiding them with your good counsel. Establish peace in the land and fullness of joy for all who dwell there. Amen. You may close your books. So we've started the Torah over again. My rabbi and mentor, Mark S. Shapiro, said, think of the Torah not as a circle, but rather as a Mobius strip. Because when you start one point on the Mobius strip, it keeps going around, whereas if you have a circle, you can go around on the top or the outside and stop and then go around on the inside as well. But a Mobius strip, you keep going. And as we look to the beginning, we look to the creation story, and we hear again and again, Vayar Elohim ki tov, and God saw that it was good. And we hear that refrain 7 times at the beginning of our Torah portion as God creates the world. On the first day of creation, God saw the light was good. Vayar Elohim et haor, the light, ki tov, was good. And on subsequent days of creation, after the naming of the dry land earth and the water seas, Vayar Elohim ki tov. And after the earth brought forth vegetation, seed-bearing plants and trees, Vayar Elohim ki tov. After God created the sun, moon, and stars, Vayar Elohim ki tov. After God created sea creatures and birds, Vayar Elohim ki tov. And after God created the animals on land, Vayar Elohim ki tov. And then on the last day of creation we read, Vayar Elohim et kol asher asa. Sounds familiar, huh? V'hine tov me'od. God saw all that God had made, including human beings, and behold, tov me'od. It was very good, very good. Our Torah begins with a lot of good. But in the second version of the telling of the creation story, yes, God perceives that something is not good. And there are 2 creation stories, and that's a sermon for another time. The first version of creation, human beings, plural, are created on the 6th day. We read God created human in God's image, male and female, God created them. And so the first human beings exist together. It's in the second version of the creation story that man is created first and all alone from dust, and only afterward did God then create a garden and put man therein. And then God observes something lo tov, something not good. The eternal God said, it is not good for man to be alone. And when God sees this situation that is lo tov, not good, God does something about it. God says, I will make a fitting helper, an ezer kenegdo, a fitting helper for him. And so God creates animals. Not what you were expecting. But that's what happens in this order. So in the second version of the creation story, the human being is created first and then placed in the garden, which God plants for him. And then God realizes that the human is all alone with the plants. And so then, as God formed the man from the earth, God formed from the earth also beasts and birds, brings them to the man, and the man gives names to all the animals. From the beginning of creation and the Torah, human beings have had this symbiotic relationship with animals. In the first version of the creation story, as God is about to make human beings, God says, "Let us make human beings, and they shall rule the fish of the sea, the birds of the sky, the cattle, the whole earth, and all the creeping things that creep on earth." Throughout the Torah, Judaism, and history, our relationship with animals has evolved. So we see at the beginning in this first creation story, we are ruling over the animals. And then in next week's Torah portion, we learn in the story of Noah that Noah took 2 of each non-water animal and brought them into the ark to preserve the animal population during the flood. We make use of animals in a practical manner. Look especially in the book of Leviticus, and we see that animals are used as sacrifices, as korbanot, in order for us to draw close to God. And in turn, in making those offerings, we also eat some of those animals as a source of food. Animals, such as sheep and goats, become a source of wealth, as we see in the stories of Abraham and Jacob. And some animals we use for transportation, such as the donkey and the camel. And then we see rules in the Torah about using animals for labor. We are commanded not to yoke an ox and a donkey together while plowing the field. And we learn to treat animals with care. The idea of the ox and the donkey not being plowed together may not only be because it's an impracticality, but also so that one animal doesn't harm the other. A commentator by the name of Ibn Ezra from 12th century Spain teaches, God shows mercy to all of God's creatures, for a donkey is not so powerful as an ox. And later in Deuteronomy, we learn to shoo away the mother bird from her nest if we plan to take the eggs or the fledglings. And in doing so, we are mindful of the humane way that we act toward animals. Within the Talmud, there's a prohibition against unnecessary cruelty toward animals, and we call that value in Judaism tsar ba'alei chaim. It means literally the suffering of animals, but tsar ba'alei chaim is really about showing kindness to animals. The Talmud also teaches us that we should feed our animals before we ourselves eat our own meals. And of course, there's other Talmudic teachings relating to the laws of kashrut, keeping kosher, and the way we're supposed to slaughter animals in certain ways to minimize the pain of an animal. And in more modern times, some of us have even chosen for ethical reasons, connected to the value of tsar ba'alei chaim, to eat a vegetarian or vegan diet, not to wear leather or fur, nor even buy products that have been tested on animals. And taking it one step further, some of us have brought animals into our home as pets. Just curious, how many people in this congregation are pet owners? And that could be any kind of pet. When God saw lo tov, it is not good for man to be alone, God created animals. And throughout time, we human beings have had this evolving relationship with animals. But what was the purpose of creating the animals for Adam back then, or the man? It was so that man would not be alone. And there was a second reason.
God said, I will make a fitting helper, an ezer kenegdo for him. And after God made animals for the man, God noticed that none of the animals was serving as a fitting helper, as an ezer kenegdo. So what did God do? God cast a deep sleep upon the man, and while he slept, God created woman from the man's side. And not only was he no longer alone, the man now had an ezer kenegdo, a fitting helper. And there are many interpretations about this verse in particular and the creation of human beings from both versions of the creation story. There's one rabbi's commentary on this, Rabbi David Kimchi, who's also known as Radak. He's a medieval French scholar, and he says, it's not good that the man has no partner and that the human being cannot find a partner among the beasts. Why? Because none of the animals are on par with him. And so another human being, a woman, was created so as to be on the same par with a man, socially, intellectually, emotionally, and more. The human being needed another human being. It is not good for a person to be alone. God tried finding a partner for the only human being on earth by creating animals in the hope that one or more might be a fitting helper. There's another lesson we learn from the way we relate to animals and relate to human beings. There's an expression in Hebrew, kal v'chomer. It means, in essence, all the more so. So we're taught about the value, tsar ba'alei chaim, being kind to animals. And so kal v'chomer, all the more so, should we be kind toward human beings. It's not good for a person to be alone. Animals are great companions, and some would say that they're better than people. But our Torah verse teaches that human beings need other human beings, and it's not good for a person to be alone. We need one another, intellectually, socially, emotionally, and more. And so let's keep this message in mind when we're out in the world. And we can bring that message right here in our synagogue as we walk through our doors. If we see someone alone, or maybe someone who is new to us, may we find that courage, the energy, and the comfort, because it's not always so comfortable for everyone, to go over to that person and introduce ourselves. And then maybe introduce that person to another person. One of the reasons we come to a synagogue is to be with community. As we know at Adith Emmanuel, this is where community becomes family. To be with those whom we know and those whom we are about to get to know. It is not good for a person to be alone. Lo tov. So before we leave Adith Emmanuel this evening, let us each try to approach someone who may be here alone or who may be somebody we simply do not know. Let's introduce ourselves to one another, be kind all the more so to other human beings, and we too, like God, will see, v'hine tov ma'od, that this is very good. Shabbat shalom.
וירא אלוהים את כל אשר עשה, והנה טוב
We turn now in our Sidurim, in our prayer books, to page 586. 586 at the bottom of the page. As we're able, we rise in body and spirit for Aleinu.
Aleinu l'shabeach Adon hakol, lateit gedula liyosef reshit, shelo asanu kigoyei arasot, velo asamanu kimishpechot האדמה, shelo sam chelkinu b'hem, וגורלנו ככל המונם, ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים, הקדוש ברוך הוא, ונאמר והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ, היום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד, אחד.
We turn our thoughts and prayers now to those who are no longer with us, and so we turn in our prayer book to pages 598 and 599 as we think of our loved ones whom death has recently taken from us, those who died during this period of Shiva and Shloshim. We recall the memories of Howard Miller, partner of Jody Starbecker, niece of Stan Krantz, Sidney Gross, father of Chuck Gross and Deborah Epstein, grandfather of William and Leah. And we think of those who died at the season in years past, whose yahrzeits we observe on the Shabbat: Tessie Buckdahl, Herman Cohen, Samuel Erstling, Bernard Helfat, Charles Natkin, Jerome Pomerantz, Nathan Rappaport, Robbie Rubenstein, Martin Stevens, Eli West, Thomas Wright, and those whom we have drawn into our hearts with our own. If there's other names that you would like to mention at this time, if you're joining us through the blessing of technology, feel free to add those names in the chat. And if you're here in person and have another name to add, I would ask, as you're able, to rise and say those names aloud as my hand passes through the congregation. For those who are in the period of Shiva or Shloshim, did you want to say anything? For those who are in the period of Shiva or Shloshim, or the first year of mourning, I invite you to rise at this time. If you're here tonight observing a yahrzeit, I invite you to rise at this time. And we think of all those who have died and those whom we have drawn into our hearts with our own, those for whom there is no one to say Kaddish. Zikronam Livracha. May their memories be for blessing as we rise now in support and comfort as one congregation, reciting the words of Mourner's Kaddish. Yit Gadal V'Yit Kadash Shemei Rabbah Be'alma Divrach Hirutei V'Yamlich Malchutei B'chayei Uvyomei U'chayei Dechol Beit Yisrael Ba'agala Ubizman Kariv V'Imru Ameh Yehei Shemei Rabbah Mavarach Le'olam Omei Omaya
Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh. V'yitadar v'yitaleh v'yithalal shemei dekudasha b'riachu. Le'elam min kol birchata v'shirata. Tushbachata v'nechemata. Ta'amiran di'alma v'imru amen. Yehi shlama rabba min shemaya. V'chaim aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. V'imru amen. Oseh shalom b'mromav. Hu ya'aseh shalom. Aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. V'imru amen. May the source of peace send peace to all who mourn and comfort to all who are bereaved. And let us say, Amen. You may be seated. It's my pleasure to welcome to the Bima Doug Richter, our synagogue president, to share with us some hodaot, some announcements.
Shabbat shalom, everyone. Shabbat shalom, Doug. Thank you all for joining us tonight in person and online. Thank you, Rabbi, Cantor Sandy, and our choir, and of course, LA, for making tonight's service so special. Mazel tov to the Deloche family on Ethan's bar mitzvah tomorrow morning, and also to Dylan Goldman Moraldo and her family on her bat mitzvah tomorrow evening. I invite everyone to join us for Oneg in the social hall after services conclude. And again, tomorrow is Saturday, so what does that mean? 8:45 is Torah Talk and Bagels, and that followed by Ethan's bar mitzvah service at 10 o'clock, and then Dylan's bat mitzvah at 5 o'clock p.m. And on Sunday morning at 8:30, the green team is having their plastic drive, the fall plastic drive, and at 9 o'clock, Men's Club is having their blood drive. And lastly, I just want to remind everyone that next Erev Shabbat is our new member Shabbat, so please come to meet and greet our new members. And that's it for tonight. Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat Shalom.
For our closing song, you might have felt like you missed it on the high holidays, but it's here tonight at Shabbat Bereshit. Ein Keloheinu on page 327. Page 327, Ein Keloheinu.
Ein Keloheinu, Ein Kadonenu, Ein Kemokeinu, Ein Kemoshienu, Ein Keloheinu, Ein Kadonenu, Ein Kemokeinu, Ein Kemoshienu. Sorry, folks. Me Kadon.
I think we need to put this in a Gale key. Let's get this down in a Gale key.
Okay. Ein Keloheinu, Ein Kadonenu, Ein Kemokeinu, Ein Kemoshienu, Ein Keloheinu, Ein Kadonenu, Ein Kemokeinu, Ein Kemoshienu. Mi Keloheinu, Mi Kadonenu, Mi Kemokeinu, Mi Kemoshienu, No De Leloheinu, No De Ladonenu, No De Limokeinu, No De Limoshienu. Ein Keloheinu, Ein Kadonenu, Kemokeinu, Ein Kemoshienu, Ein Keloheinu, Ein Kadonenu, Ein Kemokeinu, Ein Kemoshienu. Baruch Eloheinu, Baruch Adonenu, Baruch Malkeinu, Baruch Moshienu, Atahu Eloheinu, Atahu Adonenu, Atahu Malkeinu, Atahu Moshienu.
Please join me in Motzi. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam hamotzi lechem min haaretz b'te'avon and Shabbat shalom. Shabbat shalom.